So you're thinking about making a move to Chicago and you're curious what the Windy City is all about? Well, you have come to the right place. Yes, living in Chicago here with you. I take you around the city to show you what it's like to live, work, and play here in the Second City. And well, today, clearly we're not outside touring one of the delightful neighborhoods that the city has to offer. But one of the things that you might be curious about is, what is the housing market actually like here in Chicago? And I've gotten questions ad nauseum over the last month about the housing market and the bubble. Is it going to burst? And when is the price crash coming? And this is just not sustainable, yada, yada, yada. Well, I'm here to talk about that. And is a housing crash coming in 2023? So let's get after it. If this is your first time at the channel and you want to keep up to date on what it's like to live in Chicago, then make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, and you get to stay up to date, be the first to know about the current conditions of the market here in Chicago. By the way, I'm Andrew Coppins with the Exit Strategy Realty, and I get calls, emails, texts, DMs every single day from people looking to make a move to the Windy City, and I love it. So whether your move is coming in a couple of weeks, a couple of months, a year from now, whatever it might be, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me a DM, and let's chat. I love to make your smooth move to the Second City happen for you, and all of the information on how you can contact me can be found in the description of this video. But as I mentioned up front, we're going to be talking about a housing price crash, and will it or won't it happen in 2023? A lot of people sitting on the sidelines wondering what's going to happen to the market. Some people hoping that the prices are going to crash. I mean, interest rates are high and stress levels are high and all of that goodness. But a lot of people are looking at this market through the lens of 2007, and I understand it. I totally get it, right? I mean, it's easy to say, well, housing price crash, and that has to equal what happened in 2007. It's an instantaneous reaction. I get it. But I'm here to tell you that the fundamentals of that housing crash do not exist in this housing crash. And I'm going to explain to you some of the absolutely bananas things that are going on that would suggest to me there's no way, no how that this massive price crash is going to happen this time around. So number one, we have a housing shortage in this country and in the city of Chicago. And by the way, all the stats I'm going to talk about are dedicated to the city of Chicago, not the surrounding communities or Chicagoland more broadly. But overall, what we have to know is that we have 6 million new housing starts short of a needed supply number. So before we even get into whether or not we could see a pricing crash, we have to understand we have basically a drought of new housing starts, homes that need to be built to meet demand of people in the marketplace today, and how many people actually live here in the United States of America, period, amen. Now, part of that problem is because of the 2007 crash, and we were 3 million homes behind as we started our increase in 2012. But the problem is that we are still now 3 million new homes short of that number. So that equals 6 million new home starts short of the needed level. That's right, folks, 6 million new housing starts short. Now, locally, we have under 3 months of supply. And this last month in November, we saw 7,000 new homes come to market, the lowest number in over a decade. That's right, 7,000 homes for sale at the end of the month of November. Interest rates are continuing to rise, and well, they continue to kind of leave homeowners in a lurch. I mean, think about it. If you bought a home in the last 5 years, chances are you bought a home at what, 4, maybe 5% interest? Now you're going to ask yourself if you want to move up, level up your home, or maybe move lower in your home. And now you got a 6.5%, 7% interest rate to deal with. Kind of makes it hard for you to want to level your home up, spend more money on a new home, because you have a current home in which you would be spending less money on. Now, number 2 issue is lending. And lending is very different today than it was back then. You have to remember that in 2007, 2008, that time frame, the Mortgage Credit Availability Index, which is a measure of somebody's credit worthiness or how much credit is being given out, I should say, that number stood at over 850. Today, that number hovers around 100. And the higher the number, well, the bigger the issues, the easier it is to get credit in the housing market. Now, the MCAI fell by 5% in the last quarter. Yes, it fell by 5%, meaning it's actually harder to get a loan, not easier to get a loan. Thus, that makes it much more difficult for those who would have the issues with being able to afford a mortgage. There's less of them in the marketplace than before. Thus, the problem that existed and caused the housing crash in 2007, 2008 doesn't exist. There's no way that the lending market would crash the housing market this time around like it did the last time. Now, the other part of this is, well, what about those who are financially impacted by the inflation numbers, by the unemployment situation, by all this other stuff that's going on in the broader market? Well, guess what? 85% of the people who are in trouble with their mortgage might be facing foreclosure down the road or having to go into forbearance and some of those issues that existed during the pandemic. Well, 85% of those individuals have at least 10% equity in their homes. Why is that important? That number is important because 10% equity means you're likely to be able to pay for your closing costs without bringing a single dime of your own money to the table. Thus, you can leave the bank out of the situation, sell your home, satisfy the mortgage, and you're done with the situation. No foreclosure. That was a big problem that cratered the market the last time around that will not exist here. Additionally, think about this. 45% of all homeowners today own their homes free and clear. That's right, 45% of them. That's a really healthy marketplace because if they're in trouble with maybe a job or whatever, their housing costs are next to none and they could sell the home on the open market, which brings me to number 3 on this list, supply and demand. Now, what we have to know about the last time around is that some of the issue that helped to crater pricing involved the fact that there were 8, 10, some cases 11 months of supply in the marketplace, meaning there is a boatload of people willing to sell their homes and not a lot of people buying homes. That creates what? Negative pressure on prices, thus helping to crash the market. Well, today, those numbers are completely in reverse. We have about 2.7 months of supply in the marketplace as of the end of November here in the city of Chicago. And again, only 7,000 homes were for sale at the end of November, folks. That is such a ridiculously low number in a city of 3 million people. I don't mean to poo-poo people's fears, but think about this. We don't have enough homes for sale to satisfy the people who want to buy homes that are currently in the marketplace. Now, the one thing that I would caution is that, yes, there's one aspect of this that you need to be aware of if you're looking to sell your house, because if there's not enough supply, I should probably sell my house. That number is 64 days, and that is the average time on the market, which is almost a doubling of the time to market for homes from April of 2022 to now. So your home is likely to sit a little bit longer, and that is just part and parcel of the indicator of, number 1, credit issues, number 2, people waiting it out, and number 3, people looking for deals that just don't exist. Now you might say, well, then that means I've got to discount my price. That's not necessarily true either, and let me explain it. Because yes, inventory overall is down. Yes, showings are down. All of those things are true, but the original list price to sales price is at 97.9%, which is some of the highest that we've seen over the course of this crazy, insane market that we've had over the last 2.5 years. In fact, over the last 3 years, we're actually up 1% compared to 3 years ago when people would be looking to buy a home. Yeah, they could get better deals 3 years ago than they could right now, even though the market has gone bananas and gone crazy slow. right? Even with the slowness of the market, homes are still going close to their original listing price. So if you're looking to sell your home, well, you're likely to get what you're looking for the home. Now, the key to all of this is, what about 2023, right? The fundamentals, why am I harping on them? Lending. Yes, your interest rate is more than it was just a few years ago, but it is what it is. You can't change that, right? What we have to consider is, what about those who might be in trouble? What about the credit usage, all of that sort of stuff? And all of those are really healthy numbers. We have to consider supply and demand. We know that demand is low. We know that supply is super low. So we're not seeing an imbalance there. And of course, we are also not seeing an imbalance in the fact that we are not satisfying the amount of homes that we need for a healthy overall market. So at the end of the day, do I see a massive pricing crash coming in 2023? No, the fundamentals just don't exist for something like 2007 to happen. In fact, we are at the actual reverse of it. And if we do see anything happening, it's likely a correction of the market. That might actually be positive for both buyers and sellers, because I don't know about you, the last couple of years have been absolutely bat nuts crazy. So if you're considering making a move to Chicago, hopefully you're informed as to what the housing market is doing here. And if you want to know more, please reach out to me. All the information is in the description below. Until the next time we're together, hopefully you'll find out what it's like to close with Coppins soon.